And then what? I got me that Camo coin hunter mail call going today. DDub. Man, I hit a giveaway the other night on his channel. Ended up with 2 standing Liberty quarters. And what I didn't know, I apparently had plenty of silver quarters, but I didn't have no standing ones. I haven't looked to be sure, but I don't think I do. So, first 2 standing Liberty quarters, quote, I was just tickled to death about the wooden nickel. That's bad. I got to looking at this one. You said you believed it was clean, DDub. I believe it's been replated. I mean, for it to be that pretty and that shiny and everything, there ought to at least be some steps left on it. Nonetheless, 'tis still a beautiful thing, and will go in the box. Matter of fact, I believe that was the 25th. I'll have to check and be sure. There's a couple of buffalo nickels. A 1925. And I could just barely catch what looks like a 28. I ain't real sure. And then that 47 war nickel. I think I forgot to mention that part. It's a war nickel. I don't know if it's just been replated, I believe. And got a 43 San Francisco. Got a little batch of war nickels over there that I put them into. And the buffaloes. And them standing liberties. One of them is I think one was a 24 and one was a 25. I don't know if I can nickel-date that wooden nickel, see if I can find the date on it. Maybe call that number, they be able to tell you. And as far as the work finds go, it's almost, I can't even say it with a straight face. It's almost getting boring finding all them W's at work. Not. Got another river no return and another W bat today. Add them into the pile too. So, here a while back, some years ago, I was coming through an intersection and the light starts turning yellow. I come through it. Well, next thing I know, I got blue lights behind me, pulling me over, writing me a ticket for running a red light. The light wasn't red. I could see it as I was going under. But there ain't no sense in arguing with half of this bunch. So, I told him just write me the ticket. I'd pay it. So I got to the court. The judge asked, how do you plead? And I said, well, let's be honest. For me to prove that I didn't run a red light is going to cost me $600-700. He said, no. If you're found not guilty, you won't have to pay anything. I said, except for that attorney, because y'all won't let me talk across the bar. So, why don't we just cut out the middleman? You give me the fine, I'll pay it when I can. The judge said, you sure about that? I said, but that's the only way it can be. So he gave me the fine. Time for it to be paid come around. Well, I didn't have all of it paid off. And about a month and a half, 2 months later, at around 1:30 in the morning, 14, I repeat, 14 deputy sheriffs was not only surrounding our house, but about 9 of them was in it. And I looked around the corner of the steps, and the one that was in the lead was all bowed up and everything. Get up against the wall. And I said, excuse me? Yeah, we've been hunting you. I said, well, you've been hunting me for what? Well, I don't know. But you've been marked as a fugitive. And I'm like, over a $142 traffic ticket? Man, you ain't got no murderer, no dope dealer, no, no child molester, nothing like that. You got somebody that ran a yellow light, missed going to court, or didn't get the fine paid. He said, you got anything on you? And I said, yep, I got my pocket knife in my front right pocket. My phone is on my right side. I hand both of them to my wife. And he gets my pocket knife out and holds it up for my wife to get. And when she has to come from around the top stairs and down 3, he notices that she's not wearing anything but a long shirt. And I said, now hand her my phone. He said, we'll get to that in a minute. And he takes me all the way to the bottom of the stairs. And then takes my phone off my side. Has her come to the bottom of the stairs to get it. And then makes her go back to the top of the stairs. While he stands there and watches. And got me standing right outside the door. So at this point, Big's a little livid. And when he shuts that door, he said, we're going over here to my cruiser. And I said, I'm not walking across that parking lot. He said, excuse me? I said, you see that mud puddle? You've got me in my sock feet. You never even let me grab my shoes. I'm not walking across that mud puddle. And he gonna grab me by the arm and say, well, they gonna be changing them for you over to jail in a few minutes anyway. So I laid my head on his shoulder and said, well, how about you carry me to the car, honey? Now, one of the other officers I've known for a while come up and got me by the other arm. He said, I'll take him over here to mine. And we went around the corner to the other cruiser. And this officer asked me, he said, son, what's the matter with you? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you can tell he's got a fuse about 1 inch long, and you want to sit over there striking matches around it? I said, y'all got my hands behind my back. I'll call it a fair fight. I'll kick the lunch out of him. I mean, I was fired up. Went a couple of days later and actually filed a formal complaint about him. But So we get in the car, get over to the jail. We're in getting ready to do fingerprints and everything else, and one of these officers says, "Hey, you so and so?" Or no. He said, "Hey, your wife's on the way to get you." And I said, "My wife?" And he said, "Yeah, she's already paid the bail." And I turned around and looked behind me, and I was like, "My wife?" And he said, "Yes." And I went, "This woman?" And he said, "Yes, what's the problem?" And I said, "Well, it's not that I don't believe she would come and get me. The hell, she had this money hid." He said, "Son, if I was you, I'd keep that to myself." So, as with everything, it takes me about 5 minutes, and I've got everybody in the room, laughing and everything else. Of course, me in booking with 15 corrections officers. Who's the center of attention and not really in much trouble? Not really sure, but I believe I could just about get any crowd together. But back to the story. So when my wife gets there, I look at the officer that took me and put me in his car, and I'm like, "Dude, you gotta mess with her. Do something." And so when when she hands him her ID, he said, "Is this your current address?" And she said, "Yes." And he gets over and compares it to the address that I have given him. And he's like, "Are you sure that this is your current address?" And she went, "Oh no." Well, the next thing I know, he has almost got her tore up, because he is over there going, "Well, now you do understand this and this and this." And at this point, he's got me kind of worried a little bit. Finally turns around and kind of shoots me a big grin and goes, "Well, he told me to mess with you." And I mean, if looks could kill, she'd have got me through the door they had. And I'm not real sure I'd have made it. So, I wasn't at the jail about 45 minutes. And, I was right back at the house. Just kind of ended up being a funny little story, so to speak. But what was really funny was watching the landlord's girlfriend the next day, because unbeknownst to me, and this is where it gets really fun, but at one point in Big's life, Big actually was a fugitive. And don't worry, it was over child support. I had a little girl that my ex-wife up and just vanished in the middle of the night with her one night. And that's how I found out where she was. When I was arrested for not, or when I was pulled over for not having my headlights on, and the officers ran my name and number and all of that fun stuff, came back that I had a warrant out of St. Louis. I said, "Are you sure?" And they said, "Yes." "Is this your name?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, why are you questioning me?" I said, "Because I've never even been to Missouri." I got to go then. Anyway, I don't want to make this one drag on too long, but long story short, went to jail in Tampa, 2 detectives showed up from St. Louis a little while, about 3 weeks later. And I had to give these 2 directions when we left the jail, how to get to the airport. They could not believe how cooperative I was. And I'm like, guys, I've been looking for my little girl for a while now, and you don't know where she's at. Let's go. And of course, get in St. Louis, in booking, and are you so-and-so, aka Big Country? Yep, that's me. Whole nother state away, or whole like 3-4 states away. It was already there waiting on me. I've rattled long enough, guys. I love y'all. Hope you enjoy this one. I didn't mean to scatter all this mess out while I was talking, but I was trying to put the work funds away while I was doing it. I got to be at work at 6 a.m. and was multitasking. Y'all behave.